Yo, what's up guys, I'm back with a video for this time. We have a different type of video now. This is obviously all of the cards that have been released or leaked to be released as their official ratings, all of that. So I do thank everyone that's made these graphics on Twitter. I think most of their tags will be in it. If not, please do go over to Twitter and actually follow their accounts. Now, on to ratings then. So I'm going to quickly, briefly go through this, because obviously this is going to be the main bulk of the top 50 ratings, but a lot of these are going to be in the team ones that I'm doing on the next kind of slide. So I'm only going to quickly, briefly go through this on the things I think should have been upgraded or downgraded. So obviously, you've got Bon Mati, I think, with a +1. Ballon d'Or winning woman, I think that's fair enough. Obviously, Hansen now has 5-star, 5-star instead of the 5-star, 4-star of last year, which is really nice. De Bruyne has been downgraded by 1, which I think is a little bit unjustified. I know he was injured for half the season, but when he came back, he was just as classy as he was. Bellingham, I don't know what PR he has, but obviously he's gone up by +4, I think it is. I think he deserved about an 87, 88, but there we go. Now, Smith as well has had a nice upgrade. Obviously, she's now 89 rated, so she's going to be a very, very usable and desirable card depending on what the meta is. Now, Salah, I think, probably deserves a 90 if you look at some of the other cards in the list. Salah has been consistently good for the past 5, 6, 7 years, and I don't really know how he's not on level with people like Bellingham and Hansen and stuff like that. Now, obviously, Martinez has gone up by 2, I think it is. I think he was the Serie A golden boot thing, so obviously that's probably warranted as well. I don't mind that. Messi's obviously now a right winger as well. An 88 rating, which I think is quite fair. Obviously, he's not at his prime anymore, but 88 rating, he's still a world-class player. On the right side now you've got Beth Mead has gone up 1 rating, but I'm pretty sure she has like 73 agility, so that's not great at all. Phil Foden's had a nice upgrade. Obviously, he's got technical plus now and 88 rated, so that's going to be really nice for him. Obviously, Saliba as well. I think it's anticipated plus on him. Really good pace, good physical, good strength. Like Saliba deserves, I think this is a fair rating for him. I think he's a very good centre back, but I don't quite think he's just as good as Van Dijk. Bastoni's had a nice upgrade as well. De Jong has stayed the same, which I feel like is one of the ones that should have gone up instead. But I think that's all I need to cover of up and down ratings. Obviously, there's probably a few like I missed, like Vert, but I don't really want to talk too much on these cards because they're going to be in other teams like the club ones. So first two teams, I thought I'd put the North London teams up together against each other. Now, I don't know why they made the left Arsenal one so high saturation, but with that being said, you're going to have to deal with it, unfortunately, because I can't obviously change it because I've combined them together, so obviously Spurs will then look stupid. You get what I mean? Anyway, Arsenal rating. So Odegaard has gone up by +2, I think it is, which, although he has been really good last year, I think he was a +1 that deserved, in my opinion, and Saka deserved a +2 instead. It's put him to 88. But that's okay. Rice, 87, maybe deserving like an 88. I feel like it's a little bit unfair. I don't think he's that much worse than Rodri. Obviously, Rodri is better than him, but 4 ratings better. I'm not too sure about that. Saliba, like I've already said, I think it's deserved. Gabriel, again, 86. No issues with him at all. Ben White, he's not going to be very meta if he's a right back. He maybe will have an alternate position of a centre back, depending on how they play this year, but if he's just a right back, I don't see him very usable at all. Martinelli's had a downgrade, which I do think is warranted. He really didn't play well last year. Havertz has had a +1 upgrade. Again, I think that's actually okay for him. And also, he plays striker, so he's not going to be that amazingly meta. He's got like 78 pace unless they upgrade it more. Raya has had an upgrade, not much to speak about. Gabby Jesus, downgrade. Ramsdale, I think that's a downgrade by 3. Calafiori, yeah, fair enough. We've not really seen much of Calafiori and Timber in the Prem, so can't really say much. And same a little bit with Tomiyasu. He's obviously played quite a bit, but there's not as much to impress. Same with Zinchenko. Maybe Zinchenko deserves to be more like a 77, 78. But that's up for debate. Trossard, I feel like, deserves like an 82 rated. He is very good when he comes on for Arsenal. And the rest of them are a little bit irrelevant, to be honest. Now, on the Spurs side of things, obviously Son has, I think he's gone down by 2, if I'm correct. I was going to say he stayed the same, but I think he's gone down by 2. I think he was 89 last year. Don't quote me on that, though. I'm sorry if he hasn't. Obviously, Maddison has gone up a rating, which is, I mean, he was good at the start of the year last year, but he kind of declined after his injury, so I'm not too sure about that one. Romero, I think, deserves to be 85. I think he's actually a really good centre-back if you put aside his aggression and his nastiness. Vicario, 84, no issues there. Pedro Porro, again, no issues there, 83. Lo Celso's 80, again, okay. Van der Ven is going to be a really OP card at the start of the year. Have you seen his stats? He's got like 88 pace with obviously an 82 rating. He's going to be a really nice solid starter centre-back if you can afford him, because I feel like he'll be more like 35, 45k odd. Kulusevski 82, yeah, fair. Udogi 82, that's going to be quite a nice left-back depending on what the pace they give him. Richarlison's fair. Bentancur maybe deserves an 82. I don't think he's been that bad. Solanke, we'll see how he does at Spurs before we up and downgrade his ratings. Werner probably deserves more like a 70, 79 odd, but with that being said, he's still an okay striker. Bissouma, yeah, not bad. Sarr, I don't really watch enough of Sarr to give him an upgrade or a downgrade. Brennan Johnson, I think he deserves more like 77. I don't actually rate Brennan Johnson. I think he's a little bit of an average winger, even though he's a Welsh boy. Region, sorry, yeah, fair. Solomon, again, fair. Ben Davies, he's on the decline because obviously he's getting a little bit older now, but again, I don't mind that rating at all. And Dragishin, you've not really seen enough for him yet to actually put him up any higher. So, on to the one I pair up most is the City ones, and obviously I put the United by the side of it just because it's the Manchester derby. But City ratings on a whole, I'm quite happy with. I'm not too angry with them overall. We'll go through them. Obviously, Haaland, decent rating. I think that's fair. He is one of the best, if not the best striker in the world. Obviously, Mbappe's more of a wide. Rodri, one of the best players in the world, if not the at the minute. I think he deserves a Ballon d'Or for this year, and that's not even being biased. He has done so much for club and country. De Bruyne downgrade, like I've already talked about, maybe a bit undeserved. Same with Ruben, I think he's been downgraded by one. I don't think it's undeserved, but I also don't think it's too deserved. I think 88, 89 is fair. Bernardo Silva saved the same, agreed. Edison's actually got long ball pass. I don't know if that's a mistake or they're actually adding outfield playstyle pluses to keepers, but if they are, I do think that long ball pass is deserved. Phil Foden, like I've already mentioned, is a warranted upgrade. I do like that a lot. Now, Ilkay Gundogan, although he has had an upgrade, I don't really see how, because he was better and it's in his prime when he was at City, but yet it's been upgraded when he's at Barca when he's not done as much. That's just an opinion though, but I'll take the upgrade on him. John Stones said the same, maybe deserved to go down one. Obviously, he's been injured for most of the season. Jack Grealish has gone down by one. I think he deserves maybe an 83 odd instead of an 84. I think he should be a little bit lower than that. Akanji, one of the most underrated centre-backs in the Premier League. 84 rated is thoroughly deserved. I think that's a class card. Kovacic has gone up by one. Again, been good for us when he came on. Obviously, not really had the game time that he warrants because he obviously is a really nice player. Ake, very, very consistent Ake is. 84 rated, we do agree with that at all. Ortega, 81. I think that's fair. I don't disagree. He's not played that much. Obviously, when Edison was not available, he would have played. But Savio, 82. We've not seen enough for him to put him any higher than that, but he has been really good starting. Walker at an 84. He's been downgraded by one. I don't disagree. He's made a few vital mistakes this year. Rico, maybe 80 rated. I think he's been better than what they say. Gvardiol has obviously been really good, so 83 is warranted. Doku, I think maybe deserves an 81. And Oscar Bob a 75. But, like I said, on a whole, not really too much complaints about the City ratings. So, on to United ratings. Obviously, we'll go through this quite fast because I don't really care that much. But they've had quite a few downgrades, which I think a few of them were warranted, and I'll go through them now. Bruno Fernandes, I don't think was warranted. He's still a world-class player, and he's still a very, very good talent for United and carries them a lot, so I don't think that's a warranted downgrade. Martinez, I think, is a fair rating. De Ligt, I think, maybe 83, because he's obviously not played that much for Bayern, and obviously got benched for Eric Dyer. Casemiro's gone down, and they were quite generous with him. I think he deserves more like an 82. As soon as he goes 1v1, he just slides and hopes for the best. Obviously, he's not got the pace, and he's got 38 this year, so that's just not going to be usable. Onana, downgrade. Obviously, he's had a few mistakes in it, but I don't think that's really warranted. I think maybe 84. Luke Shaw, again, he's been injured most seasons, so that's fair. Sancho somehow survives on an 82. I'm not sure about that one. Dalot has had a good season and he's upgraded. Rashford, a bad season. Again, -4, which I think is fair. Mazraoui, 81. Yeah, haven't much of him, so... Maguire, 80. Maybe 81, but overall, he's not as bad as people say he is. Xerxes, not watched enough of him. Obviously, Garnacho, I think, deserves like an 81. I think he is probably one of United's best players, and I don't really know why they're putting him on the bench at the minute. Højlund, maybe 79, but overall, I don't disagree with that. Mason Mount, Lindelof, Ericsson, all I don't really disagree with. They're all pretty average. Mainu, maybe more like an 80. I do think he's a really good player. Oozes composure in that midfield, which I do quite like about him. But overall, he's still got a few seasons in to reach his prime. Anthony, I think, should be like a 76 personally. I really think he's had such an awful season. But with that one-star weak foot, yeah, I've done him nice. Obviously, Malassi's been injured. Dalot's young. Evans deserves that silver. Overall, they're a pretty mediocre side in terms of the United ratings. They've only got one walkout in the whole of FIFA, which I do think is warranted. They played awfully last year. So that's fair, in my opinion. Next up, we have the El Clasicos, and it's Real Madrid and Barcelona. Now, obviously, if you look at them, Real Madrid absolutely just tops Barcelona in terms of how good the players are compared to each other. So, let's quickly go for the Real Madrid ones. Mbappe, incredible, especially that quick step plus, and Real Madrid, he's going to be so expensive, like 4.5 million odd. Vinny, obviously, 90 rated, is going to be really good. Probably deserves an 89 in my opinion, but overall, still great. Bellingham, everybody spoke about. Courtois, he's one of the best keepers in the world, you can't disagree with that. Rudiger, 88, maybe 87. He is obviously a really good centre-back, but there's some of the other people that I think are on the same level as him that are lower rated. Valverde, I think is a fair rating. He's really good at 88. Rodrigo, maybe +1. He is very, very good, but obviously not as good as the likes of Vinicius. Modric has kept his rating. Obviously, he's -1, but he's kept a lot of it considering older players seem to get downgraded massively, which I do think is fair. Modric is still class, even without his pace. Carvajal has had a really good season, so he's plus by, I think it's 4, is it? Which is actually a really big upgrade considering his age, so I do think that's fair as well. Militao has had a -1, which hasn't played that much, so again, agreed. Mendy's had a +1, that's going to be an absolute OP card at the start of the game. We'll start skipping through these a bit because they're not all as relevant. Endrick's had quite a nice upgrade considering we haven't actually seen him play that much for Real Madrid. I don't think I agree with that. Arda Güler, obviously he's going to be really good in the future, so maybe that's a fair rating, and the rest of them are a little bit average. Now, on to the Barcelona ones. So you got Lewandowski with a downgrade, which I think I agree with. He's not actually at his prime anymore. He's still obviously scoring goals as Lewandowski. He'll score no matter what, but overall, I do agree with the downgrade. De Jong, I don't know how he's not 88 rated. I feel a bit bad for him. Pedri, obviously, is good as well. I think he's the same. Kunde looks really good as well, but I think he's got bruise or slide. I can't remember which one it is, but that's looks like a really good card. Obviously, Yamal has gone up to 81 from the Euros, which is nice for him. Balde's obviously a nice start and left back as well. Rafinha at 84 is going to be decent, and same with Gavi. But overall, Barcelona's team compared to what it was about 6-7 years ago, it's fell off massively. Next up, we have Liverpool and Chelsea's. Now, on a whole, Liverpool's I think are somewhat fair. There's a few I disagree with. So overall, I think Jota maybe could be warranted of an 84. He's above that rating in terms of how good he is quality-wise. But if they're going to downgrade De Bruyne in terms of injuries, they have to do the same with Jota, because obviously Jota's class, but I just feel like because of injuries, if you're going to do it with some players, you might as well do it to all of them. McAllister's 86, I do agree with. He's been really good last year. Obviously, Van Dijk I've already mentioned, and Salah deserves to probably be 90s of both of them. They are the heart of Liverpool. They are. If they took them two out, they would be screwed, and maybe obviously Alisson and Trent. But overall, I think maybe Trent deserves a +1. Obviously, he was injured for a bit when Conor Bradley replaced him, but overall was solid when he actually played. Gakpo, 83. I mean, he didn't have that amazing of a season for Liverpool, obviously, compared to his PSV numbers, but overall, we're still decent. Konate's had a nice upgrade. The rest of them haven't really changed that much. Maybe Szoboszlai did an extra +1 to 82, but overall, maybe as well, Harvey Elliott to like 79. He had an okay start of the season as well. But the rest of them, I don't really disagree with. Obviously, there's room for improvement and room for downgrades as well. So overall, I think Liverpool's are fair. Now, Chelsea's, they obviously have no walkouts at all this year, and it's warrantedly so. Maybe the only one that's deserving of it is Cole Palmer, but 85 rated, I don't think is unfair, because he's had one good season so far. If he has more, maybe they can upgrade him again, but 85 is nice for him. And Kunku's had a downgrade, obviously, again, has been injured, so I think that's fair. Obviously, when they've been injured, they downgrade him, which I feel like they should have done with some of the players, but with that being said, Cucurella obviously had a good Euros, so that's a warranted upgrade. Enzo Fernandez, I think that's fair as well. Sterling's gone down a few ratings, again, I think that's fair. Gusto's gone up a few, again, I don't disagree with. There's not really too many on here I disagree with. Obviously, most of them have been downgrades or around similar. Like, if you look at the bottom two tiers, it's pretty much the exact same as what they were. Maybe like Chilwell's had a downgrade, but obviously he's been massively injured, so I don't disagree as well. Overall, Chelsea's got a pretty bad team in terms of how good the players are, and they're not going to be very usable this year. And I think warrantedly so. Chelsea have been awful in real life, so except from Cole Palmer, that's warranted. Next up, we have Bayern Munich and we have PSG. Now, obviously, there was not leaks for Dortmund or any like Marseille or anything like that, so I couldn't put them in there, so I had to combine them together. So, Bayern ratings, obviously, Musiala's gone up by +1, maybe deserved a +2 to 88. Sydney is, in my opinion, the same level as Wirtz. Paulinho's gone up since he's joined them from Fulham, which is really nice as well. Leroy's gone up +1, again, quite nice. I think Kimmich is minus -2 there, I think he's 86. I can't really see that probably is a little bit on the higher saturation side. But if that is, maybe a little bit undeserved. Maybe just like an 87, but still, I don't massively disagree with it. Nabry's had a downgrade. Muller obviously getting a little bit older, has had a downgrade. Elise's had a nice upgrade, which is really, really nice. And the rest of them, I don't really disagree with. Obviously, Combs had a downgrade, but I think he was injured for a bit this season. And the rest of them, I think, are pretty fair. Now, on to the PSG side. Now, if you look at this team, compared to what it used to be, with Mbappe, Neymar and Messi, it has massively fallen off. There's really not that many usable cards in this team anymore. Now, if Mukiele could play centre-back, he would be alright, but the rest of that bottom tier is pretty average. Second tier, again, exact same. Obviously, Ugarte is not going to be a PSG player anymore as well. Kimpembe has been butchered this year. He's got 74 pace, so he's not going to be a usable starter card. Colomwani will be good depending on what the meta is. Obviously, he is 6'2", I think it is, so that could be good with his pace. The only ones I can see that are going to be quite meta is Nuno Mendes. Obviously, there's not really that many good left backs. Hakimi, Vitinha and Dembele, and maybe Marquinhos with his Inset Plus, but obviously he'll be a little bit more expensive being at the higher rating. But I do like the fact Vitinha has a nice upgrade with Tiki Taka as well. I think that's deserved. Dembele stayed the same, which maybe a little bit undeserved. I think he deserves a little bit of a downgrade. But overall, PSG are nothing of what they used to be. I think they're going to struggle in the Champions League and stuff like that, because obviously that team is nowhere near, and I think the ratings I do agree with them, because not really that many of the players are standout cards anymore. Next up, we have AC Milan and Newcastle. So on the Newcastle side, obviously Isaac's had a nice upgrade, which again I do agree with. I think that's really nice. Isaac is a great player and a great striker, so I think that's thoroughly deserved. Bruno, again, exact same. Bruno Guimaraes is class as a midfielder, so again I think it's deserved. Obviously, Tonali was banned for betting, so he's gone down by -1, which again I don't disagree with. Botman, I think, has gone down by 1, which, again, he didn't have a great season. The rest of them are a little bit average. Maybe Joe Linton deserved to go up by 1. Obviously, had a little bit of an injury mid-year. But the rest of them, I think Almiron's had a downgrade. I don't disagree with. The only one I think deserves to go a little bit higher is actually Hall. But they've obviously not seen much of him, the Premier League, so they can't really put him up in EA Sports. But for me, personally, from what I've watched from him at Chelsea and at Newcastle, I think he's amazing. So I would give him more like a 75 overall. But Newcastle, I think generally speaking, those ratings are fair. And obviously, Gordon's had a nice upgrade to 82 as well. Now, on the AC Milan side of things, there's a card missing in this, which obviously is one of the standout players for AC Milan. It's Theo Hernandez. Now, I know he's 87 rated with Bruiser Plus, which is going to be good to start the year, because obviously Bruiser Plus could be meta. But as Bruiser went this year, I don't think it's going to be that amazing. Obviously, Tomori is going to be quite good at 83 rated. Now, there's a huge lack of centre-backs in the Serie A that are good as a normal. Now, this year they've got Tomori, and I think they've got Bastoni, or there's a few other cards that are looking quite good, which is really, really nice, considering they don't really have meta centre-backs normally. Leao, I think, is 5-star skills at the start of this game. That's going to be an amazing card, especially with his Rapid Plus. Magnan, same rating, which is great. Obviously, I think that's deserved as well. Overall, they've not really had that many upgrades or downgrades. Obviously, there's going to be downgrades like Florenzi and Emerson Royal. I don't know how he's still a gold card. I think Emerson Morales is an average footballer. But with that being said, obviously Calabria's 80, and I think the AC Milan hate Calabria. I don't think they rate him at all. So I don't know if EA have seen that, but he's still somehow 80 rated. And the rest of them, I think, are pretty fair. Now, obviously, here's all the new icons and heroes that are going to be released. I'll go through a few of them. So, obviously, you've got Yaps down at 87. I don't disagree with it. I think maybe 88. He's obviously a great player. I didn't watch too much of Yaps down. But what I did, and I've seen the highlights, obviously, he's a really good defender. Hazard, I don't really know how he's a hero. I think it's completely disrespectful to Hazard. But with that being said, with that technical plus, he'll still be really nice. Obviously, Maicon 88 is going to be really good as well. You've got some other cards from like throwbacks like Jamie Carragher, Matuidi, if you remember him. That's only like a few years old, so a lot of people that are currently playing FIFA will probably remember Matuidi. You've obviously got like the Hamsik as well, which will be quite nice for like the Napoli fans and stuff like that. Now, on the icon side of things, there seems to be a lot of women that have been added. So there's a keeper that's 92 rated. I don't really know how to pronounce her name, so I'm not going to. But I'm pretty sure she's quite small, so that's not really going to be great. Obviously, Buffon's lower rated than her, which to be one of the best keepers of all time and be lower rated than I'm not going to cause issues, but I feel like he obviously would have been better in his time, but that's just up for debate. Obviously, there's that Japanese woman that actually looks okay depending on her alter positions. I don't actually know them yet. The Swedish woman as well, Schneiderlen or something like that, I think is her name. She looks quite good as well. You got Fundi, however you pronounce the American's name, she actually looks quite decent overall. Obviously, she has only got 80 pace, so later on in the game, she's not going to be that usable. Gareth Bale is obviously going to be really nice with that Rapid Plus. Maybe deserved an 89, but obviously, he's not as good as some of the other icons that are already currently out, so I can see why they put him as that. But it will be still fun to use a card that is not really retired that long ago. Pichon actually looks quite good overall. It just depends on her agility and all that kind of stuff. And Thuram obviously looks amazing. But that's all for the ratings and obviously my predicting and what I think of them. If you did enjoy the video, obviously there's a little bit of a different kind of video for me. So if you did enjoy it, please do let me know down in the comments down below. And obviously I'll see you on the next video. Peace.